Six most dangerous islands in the world. 6. Gruinard Islands. Back in 1942, Britain was at war. And scientists were keen to test just how deadly and how effective anthrax could be. They rounded up 50 sheep and took them to the remote, uninhabited Gruinard Island. The scientists released an anthrax bomb. 3 days later, the sheep started to die. In their report, the scientists wrote that anthrax could be used to render cities uninhabitable for generations. As was Gruinard Island. It was placed under quarantine and no one was allowed near it for 50 years. The quarantine has now been lifted. But still, there are no visitors to Gruinard Island. 5. Reunion Island. Reunion Island is in the middle of the warm Indian Ocean. It is home to fewer than 1 million people, but its balmy climate and sun-drenched beaches make it a popular holiday destination. But since 2011, Reunion has been in crisis. The island is only 40 miles long, and yet, in the last 5 years, 13% of the world's fatal shark attacks have happened off its coastline. To put that into perspective, there have only been 3 shark attacks off the coast of South Africa in that same time. An abnormally large population of sharks circles the waters around Reunion. They've attacked 20 people since 2011 and killed 7. In 2013, all open water swimming and surfing in Reunion was banned. Enter those waters at your peril. 4. Poveglia Island. In 1348 a bubonic plague broke out in Venice. Anyone who caught the terrifying disease was shipped off to quarantine on Poveglia Island, a tiny piece of land stuck out in the Venetian lagoon. For the victims of the plague, there was no coming back. Thousands were sent to Poveglia Island to die. Some estimates put the number as high as 100,000. Their bodies all chucked into massive pits and left to rot. By the 1920s, a hospital had been built on the island where crude lobotomies were carried out on hundreds of mentally ill patients. The doctor who carried out these procedures later committed suicide, claiming the island's ghosts had made him mad. Since then, there have been many reports of ghosts and unexplained activity on Poveglia Island. Those who have dared to cross the water and set foot on the abandoned place have reported hearing cries, seeing things they couldn't explain, and one woman claimed she was attacked by an entity that clawed at her face, leaving her with wounds that needed 13 stitches. The Italian government has now banned all tourism and all visits to the island. 3. The island of Saba. Just 2,000 people live on the 13 square kilometers of land in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, the island of Saba. They live in the shadow of Mount Scenery, a potentially active volcano that last erupted in 1640. Since 1997, there have been a number of localized earthquakes that have led scientists to believe the volcano could erupt again at any moment. But it's the hurricanes that make Saba as dangerous as it is. Mother Nature is in charge on Saba. In the last 100 years, the tiny island has been hit by more hurricanes than any other island, as well 15 Category 3 storms and 7 Category 5s. That's a lot of wind. 2. Ilha de Queimada Grande. Most people in Brazil have heard of Ilha de Queimada Grande and most would never go there. The locals call it Snake Island. It's situated about 40 miles off the coast of São Paulo. No one lives there apart from the snakes. The island is home to 4,000 golden lancehead vipers, which equates to 1 poisonous snake for every square meter of land. 1 highly dangerous, highly venomous snake for every square meter of land. If you're bitten by a golden lancehead, you've got problems. The poison acts quickly. First, your body will start to swell, you'll start vomiting. Then your skin will start to blister and you'll urinate blood inside your body, your kidneys will be failing and your intestines will be rupturing and bleeding. You'll have a brain hemorrhage and then you'll die within an hour unless you can get an antidote. But because you're 40 miles away from the mainland and any civilization, you probably can't. The snakes are native to the island and have thrived in its subtropical heat because no other predators live there. Snakes have ruled the roost on Ilha to Queimada Grande for thousands and thousands of years. 1. Izu Islands. A chain of 12 islands south of Tokyo and mainland Japan, among them 9 are inhabited. They go to work, they lead normal lives. Except for one thing, every time they step outside they have to wear a gas mask, without them they'd die. All because of the huge amount of volcanic activity in the area. The most famous of the local volcanoes is Myojin-sho. It's under the sea. It erupted in 1952 and was the biggest eruption ever recorded. There are 17 volcanoes on and around the small islands, and each of them spews poisonous sulfur into the atmosphere constantly. It's the highest concentration of sulfur anywhere on the planet. Breathe sulfur and your respiratory system will start to blister, your esophagus and lungs will start to burn, and before long you won't be able to breathe at all. So you might ask yourself why anyone would choose to live on the Izu Islands. Well, the inhabitants are paid to live there. They're taking part in scientific research to see what happens to people who spend their lives wearing gas masks and breathing trace amounts of sulfur.